All right, we're going now. We are live. Two codes. Back going again tonight. Got to try and get my vision back up here. And we're away. Up and going. Troy Harley joins me from the Bendigo Greyhound Association on the bottom, probably where he belongs. I believe Adrian said that was the right spot for him. And Adrian Scott from the Sandown Park Greyhound Racing Club. Gentlemen, thank you firstly for joining me.
Thanks for the invitation, Paul, Troy.
Yeah, thanks, Campbell. I'm not quite sure whether he should be invited now if I'm supposed to be at the bottom, but we are talking one of the elite managers now, so that's what I've got to put up with, I guess.
Well, at least he logged in. At least he logged in on.
Best greyhound club in the world, Troy.
Yeah, well, it had that mantle for a while. You're maybe still there.
We'll see. Still there. Hope it's still there in 12 months.
Yes.
Are you still going to just keep going like this for the next half hour, and I chime in every now and then, or are we going to try and do it a little bit sensibly?
We go like that every other day, so
to try and do it a bit sensibly. Adrian, we'll stick with you for a start, mate. You guys have got a lot going on there at Sandown Race Club, Greyhound Racing Club. I'll be in trouble for that because there is also a racing club out that side of town. You got a lot planned for tomorrow night, but you're also just flicking through your social media feed, even your website. You're very proactive on the social media side of things.
Yeah, we are. We're pretty lucky here at Sandown. We've got a couple of great guys in Mick Floyd and Jason Adams who look after that aspect of the business and do a terrific job with it. Mick's really active with the Facebook and social media, and Jason does a fair bit with Sky, RSN and Croc Media, and they're constantly promoting the club, so we're pretty lucky.
I was fortunate enough, the Ready to Race sale that Bendigo do last year, do a little bit of work with Jason, and he's a young man, but he's very professional in the way he approaches his job, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. No, he does a lot of homework, and he's very thorough, and I've got no doubt that I think down the track a little bit we'll probably see Jason assume a more prominent role within the media and promoting greyhound racing.
Yeah, he's got probably a few things. He's got a full head of hair, which a few of us don't have. Just looking at the receding hairlines on the pictures, I think that definitely helps. You've got a few initiatives on the go, Adrian, and tomorrow night there's a fair bit going on. You're not sure whether you've stepped right outside the square or you're just outside the square.
I'm pretty lucky. I've just got an email in the last 30 seconds, so I'm back inside the square. So, a fleeting moment this afternoon, we might have taken a bit of a step outside, but we're right. So, yeah, no, we have tomorrow night, we've got a bit of a concept called Box 9, which is probably loosely based on the front bar TV concept. So we've got four panellists here tomorrow night, Gareth Tall and Trevor Marmalade. They headed up, Marty Fields. So that'll be streamed live through Facebook and a couple of other platforms that people can tap into. If they just go onto our website, it's got a couple of different links, and there'll be some giveaway prizes. If you've got a sports club, you can register a sports club to get a prize. I think there's $10,000 up for grabs there. We've got an online punters club, which will be interesting to see how we go with that one. But so there's plenty happening. It'll go for about an hour and a half, Cambo. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's a bit of a test in the water for us, and hopefully a few clubs can pinch something out of it, and that they may be able to use down the track a little bit. And we'll see how we go. Whether might provide some impetus for us to revisit it on a regular basis.
You said with your Box 9 live, you had 4 panellists. I've got 5 on the picture, the official picture that you guys put out. I've got Trevor Marmalade, Dale Thomas, Daisy Thomas, Marty Fields, Gareth Hall, and Heath Shaw. Are we missing one of those?
No, you've got them all. I'm a pretty keen Tiger man, and didn't like to bring Daisy into it. But anyway, you have now. So
mate, I'm a one-eyed Carlton man. I can't believe I'm saying that about a bloke that played his best football for Collingwood. But anyway, we won't.
Yeah, no, he's there too. And I think they've got John Sadler comes on as a guest at one stage there. Probably tell us about his little practical joke there the other day at the races. So that'll be interesting to hear.
He's a very loose
Will he
man.
have his teeth in or teeth out?
Hopefully he's got his teeth in.
He's a very loose man, John Sadler. I must say, he's a lot of fun, but could end up anywhere. Where that your panel there, I think one thing that's greyhound racing is probably, I think, been a winner with is Gareth Hall. I think I've done a few things with Gareth, but he's an incredibly passionate man. And just listening to him today talk on RSN about one of the dogs racing tomorrow night, he's very proactive and very passionate, and he's promoting this tomorrow night on his radio show. And it's good to get someone like that as high class getting behind what you guys are trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you're spot on there. I reckon he gets across all three codes really well, but in particular, he's been very good for greyhound racing since he's come on board. So hopefully we get to see a lot more of him, and I'm sure the industry will use him to his best advantage moving forward.
Yeah, he has a lot of contacts, and it makes a big difference. He actually alluded me to one of the great stories. Hales probably wants to ask you a question, but it's just good, this Zoom. When you yellow, if people aren't aware, when you yellow, they can't hear the other people. So it works out really well if I keep talking. Hales can't get a word in. The story that he brought up today, though, that was a terrific story, and I think people should conversely go to 927's website, download the podcast today. The trainer of Zipping Clifford. It's a great story, and it's just a little one of those lovely little stories that if it actually does get up and win, it'll be be great for the sport.
Yeah, it is a good story. We were listening to it today, and I'm not sure that his reference to Jerry O'Keefe was that kind. He aged Jerry O'Keefe about 12 years, I think. But I think Jerry gave him a bit of inspiration that when that Bells of Ring won, it went in as a rank outsider. And, you never know, this thing might do the same thing.
For a lot of me trotting friends out there, Zipping Clifford is the dog we're talking about. And basically, David took up his trainer's licence, a year ago, just over January last year, so just over a year ago. And he's got a dog in a Group 1 final, and it might be an outside chance, but it's still got a chance, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's got a chance, and like he's had a pretty good mentor in his brother, and David. So he's been associated with some really good dogs in the last few years. So I dare say that's been a bit of an inspiration for Jeff to get involved. So good luck. It'd be a great story if he can get up too.
Yeah, Hales, I'll let you say something, mate.
Yeah, no, I was just going to plot Adrian's path to greyhound racing, El Supremo position at Sandown. What's a couple of different career changes, Adrian, over the years?
Yeah, I did, Troy, as you probably know. I spent the majority of my working career in the police force and got out of that and went into a private business for a while and was involved in that for a number of years. And I was perhaps having a bit of a sabbatical for a while there, and an opportunity came up to manage the Warragul Greyhound Club, which I jumped at, and then spent 5 years there, and now I found myself sitting in Greg Miller's chair at Sandown.
And during that sabbatical, training horses?
I had a bit of a stint there training some gallopers for a while, and with sort of limited success as a hobby trainer, but did at one stage there seriously consider taking it on as a full-time job. But I think Mrs. hit me over the head one night and said, "George, you've got to be joking." So it was probably one of the smarter things she's done in our relationship.
Someone's got to be smart in the family.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky that Chris is the smart one, and she I had a bit of a reality check there, and I gave it away. But it was a bit of fun, Troy. I actually really enjoyed it. It's just poking around with a couple of horses around the picnics and around country tracks throughout Gippsland, and we all had a bit of fun. You drag your family into it, you know what it's like, and your in-laws, your outlaws, everyone, brothers and sisters all tend to follow it and have a bit of fun. If you have a win along the way, it's everyone thinks you're sensational, so it's good. It was good fun.
And what drew you to the Warragul job to get into greyhound racing administration?
I was actually, and that was serious. I was at a little bit of a sabbatical there, and someone from within the industry contacted me and said, "Look, there's a job coming up at Warragul. I think you'd be ideal." And I didn't think I would be, but at the time, I think it was the president of our local footy club, and as they said, your community connection, all that sort of stuff is ideal for a position like that. And anyway, I ended up going down having a chat to Phil Pryor, was the president of Warren at the time, and landed the job, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, it was everything that people thought. He tried to convince me that it would be, and the club aspect I found particularly appealing, and I still love that about the industry now, Troy, as you know, and working with the clubs and trying to get us all on the same page and stuff like that. It's a challenge, but at the end of the day, I enjoy doing it. So.
Speaking of club challenges, I mean, obviously the racing industry's continued to go, and our clubs have all had challenges to some point. But the trotting people out there mightn't realise the bigger challenge that you've had with the Sandown Greyhound Racing Club with the big tab rate there. So it's been a pretty big couple of months for you, a tough couple of months.
Yeah, it has. They shut down overnight, as a lot of businesses did. But probably what a lot of people don't realise that a lot of the work that Sandown does within the industry in promoting various aspects, whether it's through syndications or other different avenues that they have over the last few years, a lot of that's funded directly out of the Greyhounds Entertainment, which is the tabray here at Sandown. And so once that's closed, we've lost a significant income stream.
And that's obviously impacted on the feature races. I mean, obviously we could know events, big one, but as it happened across the board, the feature race prize money sort of took a hit in the Sandown Cup tomorrow night. It's not enough to be sneezed at 50,000, but it was a fair bit above that. And hopefully the next couple of years we can recoup and start climbing those feature races back up to that prestigious level they were.
Yeah. We, you and I both work pretty hard to see that happens, Troy, along with a lot of other people in the industry. Without going into too much detail, a lot of the clubs, or all clubs, top up different aspects of their major events. And once our income stream dried up through the tabray, then obviously we didn't have the ability to top up these races. So we unfortunately had to give them a haircut. But we'll work pretty hard to make sure they get back where they should be over the next 12 or 18 months, Troy.
Well, I think the last couple of weeks have shown us that the quality is certainly still there, regardless of the prize money levels, and the interest in the races off the track has been there. And I'm sure tomorrow night will be just exactly the same with the Sandown Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our third Group 1 event over the last 3 weeks, and all 3 programs have been outstanding, really, and tomorrow night's no different.
This field tomorrow night, guys, is it just a great Victorian race, or if the borders weren't closed and the likes, would this be the similar sort of class you'd expect to get?
Yeah, I would have thought so, Troy. Yeah, I think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything missing. Obviously, a couple of the favoured runners got beat last week in the heats, but in terms of the interstate dogs, a few of them have actually already come down here to race prior to that. Obviously, a lot more staying opportunities in Victoria is what there are in the other states. So they're pretty much already here. But I don't think there's too many stayers out there that didn't go around last week in the 4 heats. And the fact that you got 4 heats, obviously everyone was here. The field like that, there may not be any of the superstars like the Dogs of the Britons and those of the past, but it's an outstanding field, and whatever wins that race is probably the most open race. It's probably going to be $4 of the field, I think, for a Group 1 staying race, which is pretty rare in the last few years. That it's going to be a quality race. There's no doubt that. And you've got the experience and the inexperience from ECL Power having start number 18 right through to Rockstar both the favourite having start number 72. So there's plenty of experience as well as immaturity in the race to have an intriguing Sandown Cup.
I know one thing before you boys talk too much sense, a lot of the trotting guys are going to be on Bronski Beat, and it's even in the pink colours too. So I used to go around in Alan Hunter's colours, but a great harness racing name there, going around in the Sandown Cup. He was a ripper horse back in the day. I might be starting to show my age a little bit. There'll be a lot of Facebook people be going Bronski who won't know the music and also won't know the ripping little horse trained by John McLean many moons ago, driven a lot by the ill-fated Gavin Lang too, actually. So yeah. But they're good little traffic. But as I said, there's some good stories there, and I love the story of Zipping Clifford. As I said, get behind that one. I'll be barracking for him. But you boys, do you have a selection?
Adrian?
I'll go for the red, I think, mate. Rockstar Viva, I think, for me. So probably start favourite.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go for Ella Enchanted. Probably going to need a little bit of luck, but I think if she can reproduce her best form, I think the best times are as good as any of the others in the race. I think for box 5, if you can find a little bit of a passage through, should be hard to beat Ella Enchanted. But wouldn't surprise you what of the 8 runners won the race. And nice to be able to walk home with $50,000 sitting in a bank account a couple of weeks later, wouldn't it?
Adrian, can I just check? that the number one is Rockstar Beaver or Rockstar Beef?
BAV.
BAV. Yep, that's okay. When you said Beaver, I was like, "There's no ER on the end of that." Spelling's not my.
No, Rockstar Beef is.
Yeah, good. Spelling's not my strong point, but I was like, "Oh, I might have found one over someone here." So that's all good.
Are we going to put Adrian through the 13 questions?
Oh, we can keep him going for a little while. We've got a few people on the line. We've got Jess Tubbs on the line. We've got a bit of stuff to do with Jess in a little while as well. She's sitting back. You're not in a hurry, mate. You got 5 minutes to hang around with us, I gather.
You're right.
That's. We try to promote both codes, mate. It's interesting that you've had a few gallops. Have you had any trotters?
No, never had much to do with the trotters, other than heading out to the showgrounds as a teenager when I shouldn't have been out there, hoping like how my parents didn't find out.
It was a bit of.
You talk about declaring your age.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I am now. Yeah.
That was commonplace back in the day, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a lot of fun to go out there with a few mates when we were 16 and get in and skylark in the bloody grandstand there and yell out to the drivers as they went past. And, yeah.
Did you go over the fence or under the fence to get in?
And I think we had to go over the fence, Troy.
I think that might be a height joke. I'm not sure.
No,
seriously.
It was a serious sign of a misspent youth there, Cambo, heading out to the showgrounds.
One thing I do a few podcasts for HRV, and one thing I have worked out over the years, you weren't on your own. There's a lot of people who did the same thing, and there was a lot of mischief got up to behind the grandstands and in some of the sheds behind out further as well. So I'm pretty aware of that one.
The train trip home was a little bit scary. So I'm not sure whether we caused the trouble or anyway. We survived.
Very good. I'll quickly just on to, we'll keep the dog guys interested. It's pretty much going to be a dog night tonight. Just a couple of things with the Bendigo Harness Racing Club. We're wrapped to have got a Saturday night. We're going to be the first. So we've had regional lockdown, Adrian. I don't know if you've crossed the trots, but we've had a fair bit of regional lockdown where you can't, you're just stuck in zones. They've opened up the zones a little bit. And next Saturday night, Bendigo's going to have the first Saturday night away from Melton since it was locked down. So it's a feather in the cap. Well done to Eric and everyone involved there to get that. I am on the committee, but I can honestly say I've done bugger all to help the club since they've been in lockdown because I haven't been allowed on the premises. So they've done a great job and been rewarded by getting a Saturday night meeting, which is just terrific. And we might do a couple of things on this channel going forward. We might have to watch Box 9 tomorrow night to see how far we've got to lift the bar, but we'll try and do a few things along those lines. So that'll be all fine. Monday night just gone was the first night of regional racing, so we try to promote all the locals. Couple of ones, Troy, we've had on the show, Taylor French and our man Rodney Lakey. They keep popping up. Rodney's was a bit short this time. It was only $3.90 when he won, so it's a bit short for Rodney. You've got to be a bit wary of backing those ones, but it was a good night, and just the regional racing is going to be interesting. There was a few trot races, and Kilmore and Cranbourne always said they had the strongest trots, and after what I saw for the first night at Bendigo, I think if you're backing a trotter, back it from the Kilmore-Cranbourne region for the next couple of weeks. You won't go far wrong, that's for sure. Quickly, there was a online sale. I don't know, Adrian, if you're into the online stuff and all the rest. Gavel House, I did a little bit for Woodlands. I do a bit of work for them, and they promoted pretty heavily an online sale today, and they weren't sure how it was going to work. They're raving about it. They're absolutely blown away. There was 2 weanlings sold for $50,000, which in New Zealand there's a lot of doom and gloom about the industry, and so it was in New Zealand. And I've had discussions with Woodlands. They've cleared every one of theirs. Took a haircut on 5, but 67 lots, and all of them are sold. And as I said, they didn't get their reserves on 5 of them, so they were absolutely ecstatic, which is a good thing. You know, we say about the doom and gloom with COVID-19 and New Zealand's in a bad way. I don't know how the greyhounds are going over there, but the trots aren't all that confident, and neither are the gallops. But that's a good sign that there is a little bit of confidence anyway.
The online auction thing worked right?
Did it work all right? It was awesome. I watched it. It was a bit captivating actually. It was it's great watching it. Every horse closed a minute after the next one, and it was great just to watch them, and pretty furious bidding from time to time. So got to think outside the square. It might be something to do going forward. Troy, you might want to talk to them if you're ready to run one, but hopefully we won't be in lockdown. The other one, Adrian, we wanted to just bring to a head. They've actually, with the regional racing, they've had a tally, you've been able to get your drivers' stats and all the rest. And I find it funny all the way we promote our industry and what we do with it, and that since regional racing's been locked down, they've actually been able to keep the dollar amount, like so the average winning dollar amount. Alex Ashwood had 80 drives, 21 wins, got a return of $4.05 was his average winning price every time he went around. So basically you made money on the number one driver in the region, but there was some terrific value, one of which was Rod Lakey, who ran 12th overall in state. But his average winning price was $11.27. So for his 61 drives, you collected about, for $1, if you had $1 on them, I think Troy worked it out last night, it was about $80 profit. If you just had $1 on every time he drove, you were coming home with $80 extra in your pocket. So I think well done to them. Glenn Douglas ran second overall in the states tally while they had it in shutdown. He had a great return as well. Sean McNulty was another one that was underneath. If you had $1 on every time he went around, you picked up $70 profit, so which was pretty good. And his own horse had 6 starts for 4 wins. Average winning price of $15.80. So you collected $60 for your $1 investment on him. So I think there's some great stats there and great stories there that the people probably should look on. They all say, odds on in the harness. It's not that way. These stats prove it. Definitely not that way.
Is that the ranking races that done that grading?
Yeah, it's only for that they've done it. I hope they continue to do it because I think it's gives punters something to follow. I think maybe something for the dog people to think about too. If you can follow some of the trainers and get their average winning prices, it gets the bingo punter to have a different way of looking at someone.
Been a good dog trainer to follow in New Zealand recently, hasn't he, Troy?
Yeah, certainly has. Lisa Cole, she had the first meeting at Manawatu back from COVID-19 lockdown and trained all 12 winners. And then she trained 11 straight the next week and ran second in the last. And I was talking about having 23 straight winners, but I looked up the statistics of before the lockdown, and she also trained the last 4 at the last meeting. So she actually had 27 straight winners at the one venue. And a few of them, like on the night she won the 12 races, it was 2 or 3 $51 plus.
Yeah, phenomenal effort. It's incredible.
Phenomenal effort. I mean, she had 52 dogs in the meeting, and everyone says, you don't need that many dogs, but it's still a big effort to produce 12 winners. It's incredible. And then backed up 11 winners in a second the next week.
Absolutely. The other thing is we just got to get through. We've got to always be serious, Adrian, as you know, on these sort of shows, and you can't throw mud at people in case it comes back, or anything along those lines. But Jess Tubbs, I'm sure you've met Jess before at the Meadows. I think she works there, and we were fortunate enough to do a little 2 codes with Jess. Well, Greg Sugars fancies himself as a bit of a harness racing driver, but he seems to fancy himself a little bit more of a chef in a nightgown, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. It might have been Jess's birthday coming up, and I've just got some pictures here. I just wanted to share. She put them up on social media. I just wanted to share some of these lovely photos, as you can see there, of Greg just in his dressing gown cooking, and I'm sure he's taken himself very, very seriously. That's for sure. I'm just killing time for a sec, guys. Sorry, I had to get to the next couple of photos up line, but where's this other one? Oh yeah, we're right to go. So here's the next photo. And I don't know if you can see these ones, but the silly grin on his face while he's mixing what looks to be the ice cream, and then sharing it with the dog as well. The man worries me. I'm glad regional racing's out. He might be able to get a little bit busier, that's for sure. Going ahead, because he is a bit of a worry. But I like people that get behind a bit of stuff on social media and do a few different things. And I must say, happy 21st birthday back to Jess Tubbs as well. I think it is actually her birthday. It was her birthday yesterday. So thank you very much, Jess, for sharing those photos of your husband trying to cook, and I hope you had a happy birthday.
I'm a little bit concerned there with a dog. Is it 1 bark to say it's ready to come out of the oven, or 2 barks to say it needs 5 more minutes, or what's the go there?
Jess alluded to me that the dog is a better cook than Greg, so yeah, I think she'd be onto something. Actually, the email when she sent the photos through to me, it was titled MasterChef. I was legitimately a little bit worried about that. So, but anyway, so yeah, he's.
Well, he can sleep in on Saturday morning now. The Saturday mornings are over for a while.
Yeah, they're doing a few hours and the likes. So yeah. Before we get on to these 13 questions, Christy Hassellow from Kilmore. Hopefully I'm back there soon. It's one of the things you're saying before about your Tabaret. It's a few of the clubs, Kilmore, Ballarat, they've been affected as well with the Tabaret. They employ a lot of people in the industry, and hopefully we can get back to some sort of normality soon. I know some restrictions have been opened up, and that'll mean me getting back to Kilmore for a paid gig. I always like me paid gigs, don't I, Hales?
Yeah, you're good at that.
It'll be all right. So I think I'm.
Kieran Isles, Adrian, is a journalist here at the Bendigo 80. He just covers all three codes superbly. He almost falls in a desperate category in terms of his racing, and he's put on there beat boy, hit that perfect beat boy for Bronski beat. So we know what nightclubs he was hitting in his younger days.
Yeah, the same ones he wants to get back to now. I'm tipping.
And his Spider-Man suit.
Yeah. In all seriousness, Adrian, I had him lined up for tonight's show, and when I said to him, "No, I've got to make a bloke a bit bigger and a bit better. You want to start performing? I think he'll be ready to say he's better than you."
Adrian, we asked 13 questions all of our guests just to get a bit of so you've seen the show how it works. So I'll kick off if you want, Cambo. And how many race meetings, how many meetings would you reckon you would have been to the harness code?
In recent years, not many, but a lot more when I was younger.
I would say there's an incentive for the guys at Cranbourne to get you out to Cranbourne on a beautiful night once restrictions open up. They've done a good job out there at Cranbourne anyway as well. So Sandown's not that far. Sandown's not far from Cranbourne.
I did go to a few at Warragul. I went to a few harness meetings at Warragul, but as a paying customer, not many in recent years.
Have you owned a runner in the trots at all?
No.
Short answer.
Yeah, very short. So obviously you got started in greyhound racing at Warragul. Had you had any involvement in greyhound racing before that?
As a supporter, yeah, for a long time, Troy, actually. Bit of a...
Used to go to the dogs a bit?
I, once again, like sneaking over to... I used to sneak into Sandown as a teenager when I shouldn't have been here. Yep.
Can I just ask a question before the next question? If you see a kid and you know he's jumped the fence, do you ping him or do you kick him out, or you just go up and give him a pat on the back and say, "Well done, son"?
With my background, I'd say, "Well done, son."
Put that police hat to the side.
Yeah.
Favourite horse or dog that you've had anything to do with, and it can be your galloper. If you've got a good story about one of your gallopers, mate, that's fine.
I had a very good picnic horse that won 6 races on end for a while there. He was a bit of a favourite of mine. So so he paid the grocery bill for about 3 months. So he was favourite. Yep.
Did he have a name?
His name was Wakanda.
Wakanda.
And there was he was the first horse I trained, and there was a bit of a story to him because when I got him, he was still a stallion, and he hadn't raced for 2 years, and we got him gelded, and he won 6 races on end at the picnic. So it was good, bit of fun there.
Very good.
Not wrong. Now, what's the funniest thing you've seen at a racetrack?
Funniest thing I've seen at a racetrack? Probably Adrian Scott trying to lead his first star out onto the track and it wouldn't go.
and no one commented on it, I bet.
No, it was pretty embarrassing at the time. Anyway, the bloody thing wouldn't walk through the gate. So.
What's the your biggest win on the punt or race win?
Biggest win on the punt was actually a greyhound called Acclaim Star who won the Melbourne Cup.
Right. That's a good one.
A while ago too.
It was a few years ago. It might have been at a time when I shouldn't have been here, Troy.
It's a common theme coming through, yeah?
I've noticed.
Well, I'm guessing one of your favourite. Next question is your favourite track no longer in operation. Your favourite current track. I'd say the showgrounds or Olympic Park is the ones not in operation anymore.
I actually had a lot of fun at Olympic Park. I actually competed there myself in between dog races and some professional foot races. So I did enjoy Olympic Park, and there used to be a greyhound there called Striding Ahead, I think. Won about 8 or 9 races in a row. and used to go there and back her a little bit. And yeah, had a bit of fun running around there myself, so it was good.
Professional foot racers. No wonder they couldn't catch you when you jumped the fence. What's your favourite current track?
Is Sandown.
Last year it was Warragul. This year it's Sandown.
We just on that, we get a lot of Bendigos, so don't worry about that. Sandown, that's the first Sandown mention, so you might want to lift your game there. You think you've got a favourite track, so it's all good.
I'm out of slings.
Best horse or dog you've seen?
Probably Macquarie Diva, I suppose, as far as great racehorses went, and Fernando Bale, probably in recent years for me, as a greyhound. Maori's Idol as a trotter.
He's starting to show his age, Hales.
Yeah, bloody oath. Not Fernando Bale's mod. Yeah,
No.
Rest of them. Most unusual, best or biggest race meeting you've attended?
Oh, heck, Troy. Gee, that's a difficult one. The best, I've been to, Cox Plate's a pretty good race meeting, the best race meeting to go to. Most unusual one. I went to a few professional. Some of those picnics you took. I went to a few professional foot races in Tasmania that were a little bit unusual.
I'll leave that there.
Did they have wider lanes or something? Did they sort of?
Yeah, sort of went round the wrong way. And
favourite footy team?
Tigers.
Don't get many Carlton blokes.
Favourite beverage?
Primarily a beer man.
That was
occasional and a little. If I get to Warrnambool, I tend to go up market and get onto the red wine, Troy, as you know.
Something about COVID-19, Adrian's liver's much better for not being at Warrnambool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. How would you spend your last $10?
I'd probably devote $5 to my wife and the other $5 on the punt.
The daughter misses out.
Yeah, actually not watching.
That's very good.
Adrian, thank you very much, mate, and good luck tomorrow night with what you're doing. What time does it start? What time does the Facebook show start?
About 7 o'clock, mate. So if they go onto our website or Facebook site, you'll see some login details there. But it's www.box9.com.au. Register your sports club, register yourself, and if you're interested in having a bit of an interest, there's a punters club there. So we're excited about it, and I hope it goes well, and I hope a few other clubs can have a look at it and think something out of it. So good luck to you guys. Thanks very much for your show. I do enjoy it, and I think you're doing a great thing, and I hope you can keep up with it.
Be a lot easier once we get out of COVID. Sorry. Once we get out of COVID-19, it'll be a lot easier than this delay and waiting for the yellow square to come up.
And definitely have to be a little bit warmer for you, Paul.
Yes, but it'll be fine. It'll be a balmy -3 tonight here in sunny Bendigo, so don't worry about that. It'll be all good. All right, Adrian, thank you so much. Troy Harley, thank you, mate, and we'll see. I'll see you next week. I'll talk to you next week. And Adrian, thank you very much for your time, buddy.
Good on you guys. All right.